into the third of our, I'm not sure how many parts it's going to be, in going over the rules of the International Medieval Combat Federation. And because rules have been changed, and it's good for us in Gladiators NYC to know what the rules are, even though here in New York City sometimes we alter them because of various considerations that I won't get into now. When last we left our heroes, we were going over the rules of group categories, also known as the melee, or what the word buhurt means. We had gone over the frameworks of how you win a fight, points, how many people there are on the field, and that sort of thing. And now we're going to go into the specific rules of how you are supposed to fight. There are no we start with item number 6 in the group categories. Rules for group categories. There are no weight categories in group categories. The panel of marshals includes the head marshal, 4 field marshals, and 1 list secretary. In case of any disagreements, a deciding vote belongs to the head marshal. I prefer to say list scribe or something like that. It just sounds cooler. 6.1. Allowed techniques in all group categories. 1. Any punches, strikes with a weapon's striking edge, pommel strikes, or shield strikes at the opponent's allowed legal strike zone. Just for clarification, that's the edge. This is a pommel. And I'm sure they'll get into more details, but on this particular weapon, everything that's sticking out here counts as the edge. All right? Striking motions with the butt end of a polearm or sword pommeling is allowed. Pommeling, a strike with the pommel or butt of the weapon, with at least one hand on the grip, which means that you cannot hold your sword like this and strike them with it. You may hold it either like this, or like this, or like this, and strike them with it. And the butt of the weapon, the butt end of a polearm. Now, I have specifically asked for clarification on striking with the butt end. Now, of course, you can strike like this. Since no points are allowed, we don't have to worry about since no points are counted in melees, you don't have to worry about do you score a point by hitting like this. It's just you are hitting like this. But because he's mentioning pommeling, and he's mentioning pommeling, we have to go over what it means to hit with the butt of the weapon. This would be hitting with the haft. This would be hitting with the butt. Now, years ago, it was defined that if your thumb is facing away from your target, like so, that's a legal butt strike. But if your thumb is facing towards the target, and it doesn't have to be a line like this, it could be like this. But the point being, if your thumb and forefinger are close to the target, that is a thrusting or stabbing motion, which is not allowed. And it doesn't matter which way your thumb is facing, if you pull to it, that is not allowed. All right? Got that? Okay, moving right along. Strikes, number 3. Strikes at opponents who have lost their balance until they fall to the ground are allowed. So you can hit him while he's on the way down, but once something other than the bottom of his feet touches the floor, he's no longer a legal target, or she, or pretend every time I use a pronoun, pretend I'm using a non-gender specific pronoun. It'll make this a lot faster. All right, number 4, pushes or strikes with head, shoulder, elbow, knees, and body. That means you can push or hit him with your head, with your shoulder, with your elbows, up, down, across, anyway, knees, his ears, and body, so basically any strike like that is allowed. 5, attacks with the free hand, strikes, holds, and pressure on the allowed zones. We'll get into what the allowed zones are, but the free hand is the hand that you're not holding a weapon with. So the other guy's got your weapon all here, you can punch him, you can push him, strike him, headbutt, elbow, knee, or just chest bump, whatever it takes. Number 6, The fighter can strike with a free hand, but only when a weapon is in the other hand. We'll get to what it means when you don't have a weapon in the other hand in a minute. So, long as you got a weapon in your hand, and it doesn't say whether that weapon has to be held by the hilt or the blade, it just says a weapon in the hand. Whether or not, let's move on. 7, attacks on an opponent who has lost their weapon. So if you lose your weapon, you're still a legal target for all types of attacks. Next, 8, kicks to the legal strike zones except for the knee. Okay, the legal strike zones will be defined somewhere, but for now, at the very least, your legal strike zones are going to be horizontal to the neck, vertical on the spine, the crotch, the feet, and the backs of the knees are always illegal for everything. Okay, does it all say like that? So where are we? Yeah, legal strike zones except the knee. Next, number 9, wrestling techniques, throws, back heels, etc. are permitted.
Okay.
Tripping is permitted. That, just stick your leg out and let them trip over you. Stick your weapon out, let them trip over it. Perfectly allowed. However, one thing that I need to get clarification on, if you're just standing around like this doesn't count as something other than your feet touching the ground because you're just standing around. But I want to know, if I plant my stick here, does that count as a third point of contact, as in I'm down? So that someone can trip over it. I'm gonna ask about that, get the clarification on that. But if someone's trying to push you down and you try to support yourself, you're down. Because that's not your foot, that's a third point of contact. All right, holds of the body of the opponent, number 11, with weapons from the front, from behind, and from the sides, which do not place pressure on the neck. Basically, take this thing, wrap it around somebody, so long as it doesn't put pressure on the neck. There you go. Overlapping of a shield, blocking of the opponent's hands with a shield, and putting a shield's edge under an armed hand. So if I had a shield, we're going to pretend this is the edge of a shield, I can do this and push it out of the way with my shield. Overlapping a shield, you can just lay it on top of it. Blocking of the opponent's hands with a shield, bam. Sure, go right ahead, you do that. That's why he's wearing gauntlets. 13, strikes with the edge or body of a shield at the legal strike zones. If this were a shield, he's using the word body to describe the front face of it, and the edges are, of course, the edge. That's pretty on the legal strike zone. So, unlike duels, you're perfectly welcome to punch with your shield at the head and the face. Number 14, opponents are eliminated when there are 3 points of contact to the ground or when they submit. The feet are defined as the 2 base support points, even if they're not constantly in contact with the ground. In other words, if anything but your feet touch the ground, and I wish they'd rewrite it that way, you're out, which is why I say they're trying to push you down. There you go. That's your third point of contact. Now, though there's a clarification that this doesn't count as a point of contact. It's when you are actually holding yourself up that it's a point of contact. 15, touching the ground and supporting weight with weapon, shield, or any third body part is considered a third support point. If the fighter's weapon touches the ground with either the butt end or the striking edge, but does not support the weight, it is not considered a third point of support. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Good. Yeah, that's not. I'm out. Okay. 16. The fighter is not considered eliminated if he touches the ground or a downed fighter with the weapon, edge of shield, fist, or hands during or immediately after a successful takedown. They take someone down, they still got their hands on them. But it is understood that you can't just hang out there and have a drink of beer while you're watching a fight like this. You got to bounce back up. Okay. The fighter is not considered eliminated. Oh, I already did that one. 17. Pushing the opponent below the limits of the list is allowed as long as the opponent is only pushed and not hit. The list is a fence. They call it a list. It's a fence. There's always whatever the lowest bar of the fence is, you are allowed to push them under it, but you can't hit them, kick them, strike them until under it. Pushing is basically defined as putting a part of your body on it and pushing it. You know, whatever part of your body you have, not that would be hitting it. All right. Great move in the discos in the late 70s. 18. And part A of number 17 is the fighter is considered eliminated when both legs and hips are outside the limits of the list. So if his butt's just sticking out and his feet are in, he's good. 1 foot in, he's good. Both feet out and his groin's still in, he's good. You got to get it all out there. Okay, 18. A fighter who breaks a weapon must immediately drop the broken weapon. That is further clarified in 19. A fighter who drops or breaks a weapon must immediately stop any attacking or blocking actions and either arm himself with a secondary weapon from his belt, be handed a weapon from a standing teammate in the list, or go to his team's starting zone and retrieve a spare weapon from a teammate. Okay, and now point A on that. Only teammates for that competition at the designated zone or a standing teammate in the list may supply him with a secondary weapon. The teammates supplying the weapons must be wearing gauntlets. A rack for secondary weapons may also be used. And finally on that note, one-handed weapons may be placed on top of a tabletop if they are within the designated area. Two-handed weapons may lean at the edge of the tabletop. Okay, so I have questions about this that I want clarified. This obviously is a table. Now, let us imagine that this happens to be at the top of a list, at the top of a fence. So they can put weapons here. If I'm inside the field and I don't have a weapon, I can grab one and go back and fight. All right? Now, they say leaning weapons. I don't know if that means you can lean it inside the list, or that means you have to lean it outside the list. I don't know. It's not clarified. But the basic essence of it is, as it explains in earlier parts, there is a certain number of fighters that you can have on your team depending upon what type of a melee it is. If there's 3 people, you can have, if it's a 3 versus 3, you can have 5 people on your team, 2 subs. If it's 5 versus 5, you can have 8, 3 subs, and so forth. So it has to be someone who is on that team, standing on the other side of the list, and frequently an area will be designated as the area where this happens. And you can say, here, take a weapon, take a weapon. Or if you just happen to be lucky enough to have a spare weapon of your own, or standing next to the list where the weapons are, you see your buddy needs a weapon, grab it and hand it to him. Or pull it out and hand it to him. Those are perfectly simple ways. And unlike Mike last month, don't take your time trying to define what weapon you're going to have and wasting time putting on a shield, because the guy can still hit you. You're not allowed to fight while doing this. Let me just blast through. You know what? We got started late. It's almost 1:30 right now. So, Abid, I'll let you take over from here, because 6.2 is forbidden techniques in all categories. I don't want to eat up his time, and I've got to get to another gig. So we'll continue this. Is everybody okay with continuing this next week?
Yes.
All right. Did everybody learn something today they might not have known before?
Yes.
Good. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Abid, the room's yours.